Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, it may be the time of giving and sharing, but after today, you'll go full Grinch mode and take your Palico's Vigor Wasp spray away. In fact, toss your own potions in the trash too while you're at it. Manual healing as a whole is a thing of the past.
Future's now, old man.
Because today is a regeneration build. But not only is it a regeneration build, but it's a regeneration build with an absolute butt ton of damage, to the point that using this set, you can destroy monsters, albeit a little bit slower than the straight up damage meta builds, from an extremely safe and enjoyable position. Today, my perfect little pine trees, I present to you a little build that I like to call RageGamingVideos, the regeneration hammer build.
No, I said steamed hams. That's what I call hamburgers.
You call hamburgers steamed hams?
Yes, it's a regional dialect.
Starting off then with why this build exists, followed by what the build itself actually is, and then the playstyle to adopt while using this build. As for the why, well, do you want to die? No? Okay, well, there you go. It really is that simple. In this build, you are nearly immortal. I say nearly because once in a while a monster will just hit you twice before you can hit it back, but in any situation where you are actively attacking the monster, this thing is just unstoppable. I mean, with Rocksteady on, aside from literal one-shot mechanics, you just cannot die. We've had regen builds before, we've had immortal builds, but as fun and as potent as they've been at what they do, they've been unserviceable at best in an actual damage and general offensive capacity. But this one is different. This build is consistent sub 10 minute Elder Dragons with absolutely minimal fear of death. And of course, this results in even more healing, as health augment healing directly correlates to damage done to the monster. The new Safi armor set, with its set bonuses, deals self-damage to you when you attack a monster, but then heal it back after a set number of hits depending on your weapon, 7 for hammer. However, health augment on your weapon pretty much negates the self-damage of this effect entirely, so you wind up healing yourself with every hit, and then getting a massive chunk of health every 7 hits, which brings us to the question, why hammer? Well, in order to make the best use of our new armor set, we need to not sheathe. The old regen build was done with a greatsword, and well, let's just say that greatsword doesn't synergize well with not sheathing.
That's an understatement.
However, we still want meaty hits to take the best advantage of the health regen augment, to heal the largest amount in the fewest number of hits. So hammer, still big, chunky, meaty hits, and it allows you to run a hit and run tactic if you absolutely have to, which makes for great healing while allowing great mobility while unsheathed. But also hammer has its power charge mechanic, which after activating stays active until you get hit hard enough to send you flying, or until you sheath. So there is a nice little bonus synergy of hammer actively wanting to avoid sheathing in the first place, and who doesn't like it when the little things line up, honestly. Moving on to the build then, starting with the weapon itself, today we'll be using Safi'jiiva's eye.
What have I done?
In the form of a hammer. Specifically for this build, the poison Safi'jiiva hammer. Though technically any Safi'jiiva hammer will do the job, poison just gives this build the best chance of long-term success and damage. The awakening abilities are sharpness 5 to give the hammer a comfortable amount of wide sharpness, and then attack 6 and 3 attack 5s to just up our straight up damage. And the weapon augments are 2 health regeneration and 1 defense. Though if we do get another extra slots augment from a future update, you'll be able to fit rank 3 health regeneration in there, which is really neat. As far as the equipment itself goes then, we are running the Safi 3 set bonus, which means not quite as much attack and affinity as the 5 set, but that simply isn't the point of this build. The attack and the affinity are simply just a bonus. We are here for the massive amounts of juicy healing.
Juicy.
What you will also notice is Divine Blessing Secret, which is fully filled out for 5 ranks, and while this isn't technically regen per se, it really fits the aggressive but safe manner of this build, especially as the other option was Super Recovery, the Valhazak 2 set, and well, it's just sort of pointless in this build. You heal through red health like nobody's business, to the point where the amount of time that you have red health during a hunt is just basically non-existent. So 2 pieces of gold Rathian fill out our equipment for Divine Blessing Secret. As well, we are using Master's Charm 4 for critical eye, as 100% crit is nearly always the correct way to go for damage, and as I mentioned earlier, more damage directly correlates to more healing in this build. So once we have all of our healing skills, we get to go ham in the damage skills. RageGamingVideos. Filling in the decorations then, it becomes pretty clear that that really is the case, and as a whole, this set has 7 critical eye for 40% affinity, 5 divine blessing for safety, 3 recovery up to boost our healing ability, 3 critical boost to increase the damage of our crits, 3 weakness exploit for another 50% affinity on weakened parts, 3 slugger for them big hammer stuns, 3 agitator for extra attack and to top off a bit of extra affinity, and then 1 blight resistance and 1 evade window as extra bonus skills as a result of the armor pieces, with the set bonuses being divine blessing secret and the 3 set Safi bonus for our final 20% affinity, as well as a nice attack and status boost when our weapon is unsheathed. That said, however, my decoration collection is a little bit lacking, so this isn't a perfect representation. Both of those Challenger jewels at the top of the build, in the hammer and the helmet, should be Challenger plus for 2 ranks of the skill each, maxing us out at 5 agitator, and the KO jewels should all be KO/vitality, and in fact, these can just be swapped out completely depending on your purpose, to coalescence/vitality, as coalescence is a great damage skill and it fits in the same slots. Personally, I would say that this version is better for multiplayer, and the coalescence version is better for solo, as the knockdown periods from the stun tend to be more valuable in multiplayer. The important part is both of these options are totally viable, and really it depends on how you like your hammer to play.
The choice is yours, America.
As far as mantles, Rocksteady is an absolute no-brainer, by which I mean, in this build, using Rocksteady requires literally no brains. You just run around hitting the monster and you pretty much can't die, as long as you actually hit them. Temporal Mantle is a great secondary. I mean, honestly, I can't think of many builds that I wouldn't be tempted to recommend Temporal in, especially due to the Clutch Claw and the fact that it gives you free tenderization and flint shot opportunities. The slots on these mantles are just chock full of attack jewels, as it is the only remaining 1-slot decoration that really strengthens this build further. As far as the playstyle of this build goes then, well, basically it's just normal hammer, but far more aggressive, knowing that every decent hit that you land can restore almost half of your health, but also knowing that just landing 7 individual tiny hits is also enough to heal you a massive amount. It just gives you so much freedom to be greedy, to take risks that you would never otherwise take, and more importantly, to just keep the offensive up permanently. This Runener Gigante is a perfect example. Obviously, I'm playing a little bit exaggerated to point it out, avoiding sheathing at all costs, refusing to use actual potions even when the monster's far away, but if anything, that really speaks to the power of this build. At the start of the fight, I let Runener Gigante put bleed on me, and, well, I also let him keep it there.
You fucking crazy, man. You sound insane. Do you realize that?
And then I healed to full health through purely hitting him. And then I stayed at full health while bleeding just from hitting him. And the only time I really dipped anywhere low was when I mounted him. But that ended the second that I got to the mount finisher, restoring a massive chunk of my health. As long as you don't get incredibly greedy, and I mean to the point of charging at a monster while on 20 health, it's hard to die. So stay glued to the monster like you're some sort of fake lance main, avoid the easy attacks because you can, but if you get hit by the monster, well, just get back in there and you'll be surprised how much extra damage that you can push out in a hunt. If you do, however, find yourself in a bit of a pinch, the full charge spin move is the fastest way to trigger the Safi set bonus heal, these 7 hits. However, that said, the actual self-damage effect also triggers off of missed attacks, so the one caveat to the safety of this build is that you do actually have to, well, hit the monster. You can't miss. Swinging wildly at nothing will just serve to kill you.
Quit hitting yourself! Quit hitting yourself! Quit hitting yourself!
This also makes the full charged right trigger attack combo into the Clutch Claw very powerful, as it is a ton of rapid hits, but they are guaranteed to hit, which gains you a ton of health overall. But for the most part, it really is just play it like a normal hammer and don't worry about potions. And honestly, guys, I cannot stress enough how strong the actual damage is with this build too. It still blows me away how quickly I eat through monsters, how many knockdowns and flinches I get, and healing massive amounts the entire time. Put simply, this is the most comfortable yet effective build I've seen in a long time, and easily the most comfortable hammer build I have ever seen. Alright everyone, I've been Cotton Dinosaur, and this has been the Reggie Ham's Regeneration Hammer build. Do you like this build? What other crazy build ideas would you like to see us mess around with in the future? Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. This is the brand new outro to tell you all the things that you do that we love. So let's start with something simple and say, oh, we love your eyes. When they're watching us play video games, we make a bunch of jokes that are kinda lame. Or when they gaze upon our failures as we try to kill the monsters or important news about the kingdom Animalia. Rage, Continent, Hollow, we're all here talking about the things you want to hear. So if you want to be the first to hear, like and subscribe and the bell and we'll cheer. Some of you are patrons even though we are all the noobs and you're the pros. There's nothing we can do to thank you. No, really, there's nothing we could possibly do. Goodbye.